Hi.
Hey guys, I'm Matt.
I'm Tamar.
Together we run Tamar Hope Photography.
And in this video I'm going to be going onto Lightroom. I'm going to take you with me and we're going to edit some photos together using the preset pack, just to give you an idea of one, how easy it is to use, and two, the minor adjustments that you will need to bear in mind to make depending on your lighting and the location of your photo shoot. So let's get into it.
Sweet.
Okay, so we have opened up Lightroom and we're going to be using the preset Earth first for these photos. So I have this photo loaded up. I'm just going to put on the screen the name of the photographer who took it, and we're just going to go over to where it says presets and we're going to hover over Earth and click it. And there we go. That's pretty much a one click in my opinion. So you can, the two things that I would suggest adjusting according to your image is exposure, which is the top slider, and the white balance, so the temperature. But honestly, for this image, I'm happy with where it's at. I would personally maybe make it a little bit darker because I like the moody kind of look, but also you can make it a bit lighter and it still look good. So, but to be honest, the one click looks good for this photo. So let's move on to the next photo. I think this photo is a tiny bit overexposed, so we may need to adjust the exposure, but we'll click on Earth and see. Yeah, so as you can see, that's very overexposed. So if we just drag that exposure down, we've got some nice skin tones going on and we've got the detailing in there. And I would just leave it there, to be honest. So that's that photo. Let's try another one. What about this photo? Again, we'll just hover over Earth and click it. And again, I don't think that needs any more adjustment than that. So let's move on to, this one's a bit of an underexposed, a bit of a darker image. So let's click Earth. Yeah, so I would up the exposure a little bit on this image, and I'd probably even just double click on the white balance slider just to make it the automatic white balance. But obviously you can drag it however you want, but I usually double click and just, it ends up all right. Next image, we'll do this one and we'll just click on Earth. And again, it's pretty much a one click on this one as well. Probably will adjust the brightness a tiny bit, make it a bit more exposed, but other than that, that's fine. Lastly, let's do this one. So let's just hover over Earth. Now where water is in the shot, that's kind of where Earth really comes to life for me. Because I just really like the blues in Earth, so there we go. Again, that's a one click for Earth. Fab. Okay, so let's go on to the next preset, which is Jupiter, and we'll just give these photos an edit. So Jupiter, we'll hover over, and it's a little bit light for me, so I would drop that exposure just a bit. I think I'll even increase the white balance a tiny bit more. There we go. That's Jupiter. Let's go to this photo and click Jupiter. And yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'd maybe again drop the exposure a tiny bit, but that's just my preference. Yeah, next one. We'll do this one. We'll click Jupiter on our preset panel. And there we go. Again, I'll probably drop the exposure just a tiny bit. There we go. And I might even increase the saturation a bit for this photo because of the beautiful bokeh. We don't want to like lose those greens. So there we go with that one. This one is definitely underexposed, which it needed to be for the time of day of the shot, but it's a gorgeous shot. So with this one, bear in mind that we're going to have to up the exposure quite a bit. So we'll just click Jupiter. And it looks gorgeous, but I think it'll look even better like this. Look at those skin tones, there we go. Lovely. Let's go for an indoor shot this time. So here we have a really beautiful photo with such a nice background. But it's a lot darker than the photos we've edited with this preset so far, so let's try it. There we go. It gives quite a different look, but it looks really nice in my opinion. We'll just increase that brightness a tiny bit. And there we go, that's Jupiter. Let's do a couple more. So this photo is pretty standard exposure and white balance, so let's hope this is a one click. So let's just click Jupiter. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Maybe drop the exposure a tiny bit. Yeah, there we go. But again, that's just because I like the moodier style, so like I know a lot of people do like the brighter style, but personally I do enjoy photos to be a tiny bit darker. And then again with this one, let's just click Jupiter. And there we go, that's a one-click edit. Cool, so that's Jupiter. In fact, let's try Jupiter with a really, really cool image. So if you see this image compared to, like, for example, this image in its original, this one is very blue looking. So we'll have to play with the white balance quite a bit, but let's try Jupiter with it. Okay, so the first thing I would do with this is increase the exposure. And then the next thing, I would go a bit crazy with the white balance, just to get those skin tones looking nice. And there we go. Cool. Let's go for Mars next. So Mars is a bit of a different preset. I based this off disposable film, and I just really love the moody film look. So yeah, let's see what it looks like. It's kind of retro. So that is Mars in this photo with a one click. I think personally I would probably drop the exposure again, but that is just my preference. And there we go. I really like the retro car in the background. And again, I'll pop the photographer's name up on the screen as well, so you can go and check out their work. So the next photo, we'll just click Mars. And that's pretty much a one click as well. I think I might even increase the exposure a little bit in this one. Yeah, just a tiny bit. Along again, we'll click Mars on this wedding photo. Yeah. So I think that's looking a tiny bit green in the skin tone, so I would just increase this slider, the green and purples. There we go. I might even decrease the exposure a tiny bit. Yeah, there we go, perfect. Let's go for this photo. We'll click Mars. I really like this in Mars. I think it's such a cool retro look. And let's try this one. So that's a little bit cool for my liking. So I'll just double click the white balance to set it to automatic again, and I might just increase the exposure a little bit. There we go, that's what I would do with that photo with Mars. Okay, let's move on to Mercury. So Mercury is obviously a molten rock planet. It's all one color, so I thought that was the best one to have as a black and white filter. So let's just... So Mercury is very underexposed, so it will be the one that needs tweaking the exposure the most out of all the presets, but still not even that much. So you can see if we just click Mercury, already that's looking good. I won't need to edit the exposure much on that, because with black and whites I think underexposed does look kind of like nice and cozy and moody. Again, let's hover over Mercury. Yeah, I don't think that needs anything doing to it. Mercury. So in this one it's very dark, so I might just increase the exposure a tiny bit. There, maybe. And again, Mercury. And again with this one I'll probably just increase the exposure to there. Let's edit this beautiful stag. Mercury. Yeah, that's a one click, that doesn't need any editing. Here, let's go for Mercury. And again, I'll probably just increase the exposure a little bit with this one. Perfect. And last but not least, let's go with this one. Perfect. Okay, so that's Mercury. Moving on to Neptune. Okay, so let's find Neptune and just click it. And that's a one-click edit for Neptune. And let's try this one. So Neptune is all about the blues. Neptune is a big blue planet. So as you can see, I've really focused on the blues in this preset, and it's a lot cooler than the other presets. But I like that about it. I think that it's good to have some variety, especially if you're shooting in different lighting situations and different locations. It's good to have a preset pack that's not all warm or all cool toned, because you're going to have a variety of different presets to use throughout the shoot. I think that's the point of this preset pack, is that there should be at least one preset that you can use for every single shoot and every single lighting location that you have. So let's click Neptune again for this one. There we go, that's a one click, I don't need to do anything about that. Again, Neptune. I might even make this one a little bit even cooler. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's go for this beautiful photo of Neptune. Nice. So with this, I would probably just decrease the exposure a bit more. Maybe up a bit then. Yeah, perfect. Okay, and again, this will be the same, so I'll skip that one. This is completely different, so there we go. There we go. This is, I think, why Neptune kind of comes to life in like a moody, overcast day. You can just see those blues look so good. Yeah. And this is quite a warm image, so it'd be interesting to see what Neptune does with this. Ah, there we go. Might even just make it a bit cooler. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So that's Neptune. Moving on to Pluto. Pluto is a brown planet. Well, it appears brown anyway. So this preset is quite a warm one. So there we go. That's Pluto with this photo. I might actually even increase the warmth a bit on that and just decrease the exposure. Perfect. Next photo, let's click Pluto. And I think that's just a one click, that's perfect in my opinion. Let's go with this one, we'll click Pluto. And I think that's a bit overexposed, so I'll just drag the exposure down. Cool, let's go with this one. So this is quite a cool toned photo, so I think it'll probably balance it out. Yeah, that looks great in my opinion with Pluto. Let's try this one. Again, that looks great. I'll just decrease the exposure and I might even make it a little bit cooler. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Saturn, let's try Saturn. We've got 3 left. So we will find Saturn and click that. Saturn is a red, like fiery orangey planet. So again, this is warm and a little bit darker with brown shadows. Similar to Venus, but with more color because Saturn's like the king of the sky. So it needs to be a little bit more saturated. But yeah, that looks good. So all I did there was just decrease the exposure a bit. Let's go for this beautiful photo. We'll click Saturn, and yeah, that was pretty much a one click. I might even make it a bit warmer. Yeah, there we go. Let's try this one. So I underexposed this photo, so let's see what Saturn does for it. Yeah, so it's a little bit cool, so I'm just gonna warm it up a bit and just increase that exposure a bit, but there we go. Let's go for Saturn with this one. See, that's lovely because it's like a warm background as well, so it really shows Saturn off well. And this one's got quite a cool background, so it'd be interesting to see what Saturn does. There we go, I think that's a one click. Okay, let's go for Uranus. So Uranus is all about the greens. It brings out the greens. I'm going to start with a very green photo, so let's go with this. So as you can see, this photo is quite overexposed, so we will have to decrease the exposure. So let's try Uranus. Yeah, that's very overexposed. So we'll just drag that exposure slider down, and it's starting to look really good actually. So there we go. That's Uranus. Let's try this photo, which got a lot of blue, so let's see how Uranus handles that. Hopefully it'll bring out these greens across here and the greens in the bokeh. And again, we'll have to drag the exposure down. There we go. So yeah, it's brought out the greens. It looks really good. Let's go with this photo. So this is obviously backlit at golden hour, I think. And hopefully it'll bring out the greens. So let's try. There we go, yeah, greens here. That looks really good as a one click actually. I think I'm done with that one. This has got a lot of green in the photo, so I think this is going to go very green. Yes, that looks great actually. I like that. Let's try this one. Again, it brings out the greens really well. Uranus is very good for landscapes or if you're shooting in like a beautiful part of nature. This is a very warm image, so I think it will bring out the warm tones in the skin. Yeah, look at that, see? Nice, okay, so let's do our final preset in the pack, which is Venus. Venus is quite a muted, almost kind of faded preset with brown undertones, so let's try it. And that's a one click for that, that looks great. Okay, moving on. This backlit photo in quite harsh lighting, let's see how it handles it. Yeah, so I would bring the exposure down quite a bit on that one. There we go, perfect. Let's try it with this one. Great. I think I would bring the exposure. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. Oh, that's good. I'm just going to adjust the white balance. There we go. Here we go, Venus. Perfect. I might even make that a bit darker. Yeah. This gorgeous backdrop. Love that. Let's just bring the exposure down and warm it up a bit. Yeah, perfect. Now this is taken at night time. That's the moon there. And this is where you'll really be able to see the brown shadows that Venus has. And that's one of my favorite things about Venus, is that the shadows are brown, not red. So we'll click Venus and we'll auto adjust the exposure. You can see the red here, and then I'm just going to auto adjust the white balance. I'm just going to increase the exposure now. And if you get your ISO right on underexposed nighttime portraits, it'll look really good when you've bumped up the exposure. I think that's about right for me. I love it to be like a little bit moody, and you can see these browns all around here. I just think it looks really nice. So there we go, that is it. That's all of the presets. You've got Earth, you've got Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Mercury, Neptune, Pluto, Saturn, Uranus, and Venus. And if you haven't figured it out already, they're named after the planets, and I drew inspiration from each of the planets in creating them, the colours of the planets and the atmosphere. I'm a little bit of a nerd like that. Yeah, and also if you sign up to our mailing list, you'll get a bonus preset, which is Lunar. I will show you Lunar, actually. I can show you on, I guess, just this one. It's quite a grainy black and white. It's a little bit lighter than Mercury, so that's the difference. So this is Mercury and that's Lunar, so they are quite different. Mercury doesn't have any grain, it's kind of smooth, whereas Lunar's like grainy film style black and white, but it's still got those nice deep shadows and highlights as well. So yeah, if you sign up to the mailing list, you get an extra preset for free, and they're also just one click like Lunar. Yeah, you just edit it in the same way as you did with the other ones. So the main points with my presets is, remember to bear in mind the exposure and the white balance. If you nail it in camera, then the photos are going to look great, but if not, that's totally fine, because you can fix them in post. Once you've applied the preset, play around with the exposure and the white balance and maybe the saturation sometimes, and you're good to go. So thanks for watching this video. Thank you for downloading the presets. I would love to hear your feedback. And if you use the presets and share on Instagram, please tag Light and Law and use the hashtag Light and Law presets, and I will be sharing your photos on my Instagram. Okay, that's it from me. Enjoy playing with them. Bye.